Good.
Morning. Called the 68th meeting of the Municipal School Building Committee to order. It's January 24th, 2024. We have another 300 meetings. All right. We have 4 here in the room: Bill Shea, Dante Mazzioli, Mark Haley, and Tom Caputo. And we have 8 members online, so we have a full complement of members. With that, I'll start. And Jake, you sent around notes.
Yes, I got a one comment from Danielle about attendance and another just little spelling comment from Danielle. And it was at the end of when we were talking about schedule, and it was just in the meantime or instead of real time. So either way.
You made it correct.
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any comments or notes? Anne Marie?
Disappointing us.
No, I was the meantime comment. I didn't realize you meant meantime as one word. Sorry.
No, it's okay. But other than that, any other comments?
No, doesn't look
You'll
like
be a
it.
tough English teacher, I'll tell you.
Okay. Anne Marie, you have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Go ahead,
Dante
Dante.
Mazzi. You want a second?
Yeah, I'll
Second.
second. I want Anne Marie to be the first one.
Okay. Thought I had you guys trained.
I know it's tough, early snowy morning.
Dante forgets from week to week. Anyway, all right, so we'll have a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We don't have any outstanding billings this week, except we do, I want to go through Skanska's and understand how we have to send that through the chain, all right?
Mark, it's
Yes.
Don White here. I just got a statement from Project Dog for 3 invoices that looks like a couple of them slipped through the crack. It's for their web hosting services. I could read them if you want.
Who's from Project Dog? Is that from who?
They've been doing the hosting services for us.
But I usually get that invoice from the select board's office. I never received any.
Okay, then I'll get it teed up for next week then.
So you expect me to go on a Project Dog to find
No,
invoices?
No, they
you do.
send them to us.
Okay, they send them to CHA and then you gotta get them to me. Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, 2 enough for next week.
That's fine.
Okay, with that, we'll jump right to Skanska because Ted, I think, is gonna be a couple minutes late. So just to check, Christian. Who's on from?
Yes.
Who's on from T-Gas, Christian? You and Tina?
Yes, I'll be there in about 2 minutes.
Okay, and
I'm
it's
passing the
Ted.
rink right now.
Okay, and I've got someone from Galante Architecture. Is that Ted?
That's Tina.
It's Tina. I just changed it.
Okay, no problem. So from now on, I'll see the Z or 0. Or 0. One or the other. All right. So Christian will be here in a minute. So why don't we go to Skanska?
Yeah, so actually, Ian, do you want to give a little construction update? Do you want me to give it I can do it either way. Just in terms of the activity on site.
So currently we have the rink being demoed. They started last Thursday, taking the brick structure on the south side down. On Friday, we encountered some asbestos-containing material, so we had to stop with the block wall just inside of the rink structure. So yesterday, we proceeded to start cutting the building at column line 3 and proceeded north until we could amend the plan to abate the that material that we found and take that section of the building down. So
Ian, let me ask this, Mark, so you left what, 2 bays?
3 bays,
You left
3 columns.
The brick plus 3 columns.
Yep.
Gotcha. Okay.
Block.
Yep.
Block. It's a brick.
So- So most likely we'll have most of the structure down by the end of this week. And then move into the non-traditional work plan for the vermiculite, because that's what we have a plan for.
Right,
But we need to somehow get an approval and an amendment for the black mass, because that's nowhere in the document. We just need that clarified before we take that material down.
We think it's, go ahead. We think it's very simple. So our plan right now, the non-traditional work plan is based on includes foundation mastic and the vermiculite. So that's what we're approved for with the DEP, EPA. But where this is not really foundation mastic, it's mastic, but it's up, 12, 14 feet at that, where the root, essentially, so everyone knows what we're talking about, that low structure in the front of the rink, where that tied into the high structure, that transition point is where we saw the mastic. So a little different than foundation mastic. We just want to let them know. We think it might be as simple as taking the word foundation out of the work
but
plan.
it also could be as simple as asking DEP, because you have a non-traditional, you have a traditional,
Mhm.
asking them, so instead of the 10 days, you ask them for an emergency and they'll approve it.
Yeah, and there's some discussion with Universal on, we've already started dialogue.
Universal should be able to watch that.
Yep. The
The
question,
mayor has a question, just reach back out to CHA.
Yeah.
And we'll take care of it.
yeah, so I think we're all on the same page, and as Ian mentioned, we kind of hopscotched 2 column bays up to allow us to continue with the demo towards the back of the building while we get this work completed. So it's not impacting us from a schedule standpoint.
Additional expense, or is it
It's
relatively?
gonna be expensive. I'm not expensive, it's gonna be additional expense.
It's gonna be an additional expense. We have unit prices in our contract with Universal that list out, pluses and minuses for this type of material. So we should be able to develop an exposure. My question before I can kind of present something to you is to talk to JDC in terms of how much has to come out as non-traditional. So really, it's just one strip. It's maybe 2 courses, maybe 3 that actually has the mastic on
It's
it.
flashing.
But how do you
How do you
just
get it?
selectively demolish that? How much has to be taken?
And not
as
mix
part-
it with everything else.
But that's why doing it as a
A lot of it is
non-traditional is
Right.
an easier way to do it, because you don't have to go into containment.
I completely agree. I just don't know how that works in the unit rates. So now, what do you apply the unit rate to? Because I think it's based on square footage of wall assembly. Is it the whole wall? That's mine.
Yep.
What's the percentage of asbestos in that, like the black pad that's in the floor, and small percentage anyway, right? It's not really airborne.
I don't think it's airborne, so I'm pretty confident in that statement. I know they're testing it. They tested it yesterday, so they can dispose of it. So we should have the actual T-clip results soon. No exactly.
Mike, let me interject you for a second. So it's non-friable.
Yeah. Yep.
It's non-friable. So, and everything you're saying is absolutely correct. If we, if they give us a plan just to take the first 3 courses down, but we don't have a plan, and that's what we need. The other issue that we're going to run into is JDC has nothing on this document that says black mastic on CMU. So they will not be able to haul this material. This material will have to stay on site until we get that documented, because they need to provide the hauler this information so they know which site they could take it to. So
Foundation walls.
mastic on the block wall, not foundation wall,
Yeah.
block wall.
But-
So go ahead.
Don, could you reach out to Universal and talk to a mayor, and it should be simple enough to, because we're taking block out with vermiculite in it. We're taking on mastic and concrete foundation. All it is now it's blocked with mastic on it.
The conversation started. I think we probably have one more conversation with Universal, and this will be correct.
Mastic, is the mastic on the block in? I mean, I was down there. But is
Yes,
it on-
it's on the block at the roof line of the what used to be the that low structure, that brick structure.
It was troweled on or something like that. when it was
Yes.
black.
But
Yes.
what you do, you take all the brick and everything and just, everything goes away.
Like I said, it's hard to kind of separate that.
You don't, it's not worth it.
No, it's not worth it.
separate, no.
Yeah.
Okay, so Ian, can you tell us what the status of the inside of the rink now? Boards, glass, piping?
That's all gone. All
All
that's
gone.
gone. So we currently just taking down the structure. So the siding, that sheet metal material, and the insulation, and then the beam. So, like I mentioned earlier, we went from 3-line to 6-line yesterday. So we're anticipating to get to maybe column line 9, between 8 and 9 today. Maybe 8, and then by the end of tomorrow, we up to column line 10. So we could start the non-traditional. So I know JDC reached out to UEC to get the DEP to come out for the post inspection. So once that happens, they could start building their truck wash for that. So if we could get them to somehow change this language so we could do it all in one shot, so we don't have to set up or have them come out a second time and slow everything down, that would be great.
Ian, that's exactly right. If you got DEP on site, they'll give you approval to the other stuff.
We're working on it. So I've had conversations with Tony. I've been working with Tony on it. So I think, like I said, we're maybe one conversation away from having this thing buttoned up.
Great.
So that's, and Ian kind of mentioned it, but all the work with the rink slab, the calcium chloride, all the things we've talked about in previous meetings, that's all done. And now they're essentially, everything's going. They're not parsing, now they're knocking down the building, they're sorting it and getting rid of it in the building. So they took the rink slab out. We talked about
the upper rink slab.
Yes, the upper rink slab, sorry. The lower rink slab is staying, and gonna be removed with the foundations after you've had the structure down.
Yeah, and you're gonna leave that until you do the non-traditional work.
Yep.
Correct, because you're gonna drive on that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
It's quite an operation.
JDC's good.
Yeah.
Did the boards get picked up by Arlington or anybody? Did anybody want any of the?
No, we tried to take them apart.
Watertown picked up 2 pieces of glass for their doors and what?
The bolts are all rusted
That's-
in
that's-
place, and I mean, you
Yeah.
couldn't even move them. It was unbelievable. They really picked them up with a big excavated grapple and, you know, whatever. But
Yeah,
it
which we tried to reuse as much as we could, but there wasn't.
Yeah.
And eventually it's now, they're looking at it as part of the building now.
Yeah.
So it's, it's no different to them as a wall. They're not gonna go through and selectively try to take.
Yeah.
There was no value to it,
That's
unfortunately.
what happened
Steel.
in 50 years.
Yeah, still, yeah.
All right, so that's that update, pre-engineered metal building. Meeting Thursday, and I think the intent of the meeting Thursday is by the end of that meeting, we're gonna release them for the, I'm sorry, this is Mike Morrison, the scan release them to proceed in the shop drawings of the most structure. And potentially
So that would be fabrication.
that would be get their fabrication drawings, essentially. Their shop drawings are fabrication drawings. It's a little different
Correct.
than, a traditional.
But does that put us in the queue?
Yeah, so that'll start, once I direct them to go, which would hopefully be Thursday, that'll start that queue and commit. So we still have our loose dates with fab in the shop. We haven't lost those dates, but then having all the information to get the fab drawings made commits those dates.
And we're still trying to do north piece first.
We do have some questions on the south piece that we're working through with the
Canopy.
it's the canopy and the elevated structure and how they all tie together at what elevation. So essentially, we're trying to.
From the first up to the barn.
Mhm. So we're trying to, and I know it's a Thursday, gain efficiency in the canopy design by potentially raising the ceilings in the locker room spaces, so it's kind of all at one plane. By picking them up, you can maybe support the mezzanine and making them all the way across. So raise the elevation of those, gain some head height in the locker room spaces and the single story spaces within the barn, but also gain efficiency in supporting the canopy. So that's one thing we were looking at. I know last week we talked about that as exploring solutions to make that a more efficient design. That was one of the options we're playing with.
But it isn't, just help me out, Christian, isn't the front piece 2 bays? We move into the arena, or you guys call it barn, I call it.
Yes, so part of
Move into
that,
the arena at column line 3.
right, no, it's column line 2, 2, 3 is So between column lines 1 and 3 is what we're calling the south conventional structure.
Correct.
Between column lines 1 and 2, it is outside of the barn.
Yes.
So between column lines 2 and 3, there is structure that goes into the barn.
Okay, so the
So it's-
barn starts at 2,
Correct.
yeah, and that's where the dressing rooms are under.
That is correct, yeah.
It's a little challenging to get your head around because it's really two different sides of the house designing it. The conventional structure is designing 1 to 3, but that, as Christian mentioned, that does have one whole end of the barn within it, but that's
That's the roof.
It has the roof, it has the corner, and it has the high wall. But it's also, it needs to work with the lower structure, the mezzanine structure, so we had to have it all kind of designed in one. We didn't want any gaps between the two, so they're doing that whole piece.
So if that roof comes up, Christian, or the ceiling comes up, does that impact what we talked about yesterday, the insulation?
That's what we're working through with the measure.
Okay. I hope I'm not speaking to, I think that's.
No, you covered it.
Yeah, that's where we left it Thursday.
And you're on it again this Thursday, right?
Yep.
Tomorrow.
Yep, so I think we made definite progress last Thursday in terms of what's the goal, how do we accomplish it, what can make it easier, what can make it more, cost efficient. And I think we left that meeting, it was like, well, that would make a lot of sense, it would help us in other areas. So that was what was being explained.
Did you end up going with the local guy or the national
National
guy?
guy.
Okay. And these shop drawings will end up on Procore in a week or two?
I don't know about that, and it might be a longer time
Okay.
frame on when they end up. Maybe next week I can follow up with an update when
Thank you.
that shop drawing will be available to review. So it's a two-pronged effort as well, so where Vaco Pruden owns some of the design of their connections and deck support and things like that. Not only do we need those drawings to get uploaded in Procore, we need those drawings to kind of get uploaded into the conform set that everyone else is gonna bid eventually. So things like ceiling joist locations, that's all stuff we need to make sure the mason knows and this metal contractor knows the quantity, the location, so we're tying that gap. So it's really a big piece for us to get that piece in and then have it feed into the design for the rest of the folks to bid on.
Yep.
Which is one of the advantages of going with the whole package. You get that definitive scope in the drawings for everyone, so. I don't know, Christian or Ted, if there's anything else in the metal building, but I think we're progressing.
Yeah, we have our north conventional structure details pretty much wrapped up. They need another round of redlining, but they're pretty much all there.
And if, there's a line of when you release, when you're never gonna have like 100% of the information, especially when it relates to. I know this is no different than when we did at the high school, but you gotta kind of draw a line in the sand and say, okay, we're close enough, we're gonna release. And then, you have the opportunity in shop drawings to kind of catch those last puzzle pieces. So you don't wait for everything to be done because you'll be waiting. So I think that's kind of where we're at now.
Okay. Tom.
The tentative dates or pencil dates, what do you call that? What was that for us to get the north part of the building? When did that be?
In terms of on-site,
Yeah.
right now, it's late May right now, based on where we currently stand. And that kind of jives with where we're at with concrete and site work as well. So late May, we emailed the schedule around in the last week. And that late May date tied to an April 25 turnover date. Is that right, Jake? April 25. Yep. So that was big picture. Yep. That kind of gets us that whole summer. And
That's April 25, 2025.
Yeah, April of 2025.
April 25,
Yeah. So it's a good day. It's named.
Yes.
You don't know what
Can
name.
you imagine, make that play at the same time? That's very clever.
I thought it was your birthday.
Name day is St. Mark's Day.
Right.
Oh.
In many faiths, more important than a birthday.
Name day.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So are you finishing your, no, let's go to your 70-page and invoice. Yes. And I need some input from CHA. Don and what Tom. So we received this, it's electronic. Do we need to take that then and make a paper to provide to our accountant? How does it go through this Belmont system today? It used to be we do it in paper.
So with other projects, we have put it through electronically.
Okay,
And that has been accepted and not an issue. Electronic signatures. So I haven't asked a direct question to anyone, but I would assume that the electronic would be acceptable as well here.
Okay.
Okay.
okay, so then Don, the CHA make a motion to the committee to approve? You have reviewed his
We would
Request for payment.
make a recommendation. We cannot make the motion.
correct, you make a recommendation, we will make a motion.
Yeah.
Mr. Mazziola will make a motion.
Yeah.
And then Bill Shea will second it, but.
But we haven't seen it.
How much is it? Can I cover it with what I have in my pocket or no?
No.
Okay. Then we should talk about it a little more.
Well, we need to talk about, it, but that's what I'm trying to understand the process of how we best put this through.
Do you want me to kind of just outline?
Yes,
The process
I will walk through.
So we start with a pencil brick. It's, we assemble a requisition. A lot of times it's inclusive of projections because of the timing of how these approvals need to be made. We got to get our recs in the 15th of the month for that given month. So we're saying by the end of the month, this is where we think we're going to be in terms of percent complete and work done. That pencil rec gets assembled. We send it to the collective team. I know Christian, I think you were left off this first round. We've addressed that. I think it's going to be you, but we can add Christina or whoever to that distribution for the rec review. So then that pencil rec has a meeting where we just, typically we send it out. And then we get comments back on it, and then we have a meeting to discuss the comments. And then once it's agreed upon by the collective architect, OPM and Skanska, we revise to reflect those comments, and that's what gets presented to this group for review and approval. Does that sound right? Yes,
Right,
that's
exactly.
correct.
So what we have now is you're working against, I think it's $2.2 million of amendments that we put together pre-GMP. That's what they're working against. So I just wanted to tone down. So they're against that 2.2 million plus or minus. All right.
I actually think it's through Amendment 2, which is 5 million. So it's a $5 million total amount of our contract on this rec. We, because it's Amendment 1 and Amendment 2 that we.
I don't think that's what the amendment said. Rink said, yes. I think you were building against the 2.2.
So we're gonna pay them 20% before we have a contract in place?
We have a contract.
We have.
We have contract signed?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that. When was it signed?
The 20th, December 20th.
Okay, sorry, I didn't know.
You're right, Mark. So
Thank you.
this is it's just based on Amendment 1. So we had a 2.2 Amendment 1. Next month, it will have Amendment 2 in it, which is the other 3 million for the PMB. We didn't have PMB billed this month, so this is just for.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I read.
You're right,
Okay.
correct.
Go
And
ahead.
every time there's a billing, we have to have an amendment to the contract?
No, because we don't have a GMP yet.
Okay, got it.
So
Okay,
we-
yep, thank you.
Pre-stuff, Bill.
Yep, I'm with you.
Got it. Okay, so
Got it.
we had Amendment 1, which was the 2 million
Got
to get us to where we are, the trailers.
So we're not gonna see this bill and we're gonna go and all,
No, that's why I want to put together now, is what I'd like to do is when the pencil rec comes in, CHA reviews it, and whoever else reviews it, then you guys would come to us with recommendations, or you can go back to Skanska first, but you need to present it to the committee prior to the vote.
Agreed, yes.
So that it'll solve your issue.
Yeah, so we'll see it on paper or we'll say it electronically, but we'll see.
But I can see the cover sheet, we would see, we don't need all,
All the
back
breakdown, okay.
Well, can we send that around? Maybe when you send the agenda out, can you attach anything of that scale that we're going to approve into the distribution?
Sure.
Yes.
And then it ends up as part of it.
Which is what we've done that in the high school.
Similar, exactly,
It's
same
well,
process that's
The
done with the
reason I
high
didn't
school.
do that is because I have not gotten anything from CHA of their review of the pencil rec. That's what I'm
I
trying to
totally
set
get
up.
it.
I'm trying to
Let's
set
have
up
a
a process.
critique on this one, more of just saying as a process and ongoing basis.
That's what I'm
If
trying
we
to
can
do,
do
set
that
up
for
a
every
process.
meeting, then we can take a.
Right.
So that when they came here today for us to approve, we would have seen the pencil rec, we would be ready to do the final rec. We vote on it, and then Skanska could get money. But it looks like we're gonna end on.
So just to be clear, we typically do not send out the pencil rec
It's
to
okay.
the committee. We will send you the final agreed upon
Yes.
rec
to the committee in advance for your review and then vote and approval at the next building committee meeting.
And how do I sign it electronically?
Right click.
PDF. The PDF, you can do, you can do
It's
the
not a
signature.
DocuSign.
We can.
We can do DocuSign or we can do PDF,
DocuSign
whichever
would be
is
the
easier.
simplest, I think.
Okay,
After the vote is taken by the committee, we'll
Yeah.
go back and Sue will send her out the docs. I have already signed it. I sign it based on their review.
Yeah.
I'm the first signature, then, you guys sign what you guys voted on, right? I will sign it first and then.
Does it get signed, Tom, by the accountant also?
no,
No, okay.
No.
Just because because it is, then we'd have one more step.
no, once it is all signed by the committee and approved, it goes to accounting to process.
Sure.
And we send
And
it.
it can go to Donna or
signed.
electronic.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
That would be something.
Can I ask a question? I'm sorry, I don't see any raised hands thing on this screen. Can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
At this juncture, I, as a committee member, have not seen a budget and I have not seen a calendar, spreadsheet that shows where we are. So I feel as if we're flying blind here. We're approving these invoices and we're approving money spent, but out of what? I've got nothing to work with here. And I feel like the committee should know exactly where we are with this money and exactly where we are with the timeline.
So Jay,
So I like to say that with the requisition will come a schedule update, standard every time.
yeah, so
I
what we
haven't
don't
seen any
have.
schedule, never mind an
Yeah,
update.
It'll come with the rec.
Remember, Anne Marie's correct, and Anne Marie, you're on the same page as I think a lot of us are.
Yeah.
Is we haven't seen what we're gonna vote on, and we're not voting on it today because we haven't seen it yet.
Right.
Right.
So
So-
CHAOs is a schedule update and a budget and an invoice, and Dawn is saying he can't do the budget until he gets Skansky's input on February 8th, 10th?
I'm not
You're doing
sure.
an update,
Talking about the estimate?
estimate budget.
I don't know.
So
So that's
we-
impacting the record. approval?
We have the budget to date based on your
Amendments.
amendments and the information that you provided back in December for budget,
Correct.
okay? We cannot do another budget update because we don't have any additional information on the total project budget because we don't have the estimate.
Well,
But we
Okay,
can
but-
update, hang on, Emery, we can update based on the information that we have to date, but the construction budget will be based on the previous estimate, because we don't have,
We don't have a 9/11 budget.
Well,
all right, but we're moving forward and we're approving invoices and I'm hearing, oh, we didn't anticipate this mastic and, oh, we need to do this and that. But again, I've got no basis. I've not seen a budget. I've not seen a timeline. And I'm starting to get really concerned every time I hear someone from Skanska say, oh, we didn't anticipate that. Well, okay, but we kept hearing about all the rinks you've done. So why is so many features of this a surprise? And maybe it wouldn't be a surprise if I had something in my hand that showed what the basic thing was that we're working off of.
Mike,
Mike Morrison, so I appreciate and I understand what you're saying. I'm just gonna try to say this a little differently. I want to make sure everyone understands that what we're talking about in these recs, these are within the values that were outlined in the pre-GMP amendments. And those pre-GMP amendments, as I understand, were reviewed and signed off on from the town that they had the availability of on the set service on. So it's, what we're asking for in these applications is things that we've previously shown the committee's voted on, and we've kind of committed those funds in the town's allotment of money for this project. Am I saying that right, Tom?
yes.
So we're just
we're building
building
within
within.
number one, which is the 2.2 million
Yep.
for the pre-GMP work. The amendment 2, Anne Marie, is 3 million and change for the
Metal building.
which is not shown up in any kind of record.
We haven't got a bill yet, so we're not.
But I think, Anne Marie, it'll be clearer once CHA gives us the invoice and you can see what they're billing, and I think it's $400,000, is that correct?
So, I think, I mean, that'll make sense and I agree. I think what Anne Marie is expressing is something I think a lot of us have expressed for the last couple of weeks and months, and that is we continue to be uncomfortable with us writing effectively, large checks without a sense of what is the overall budget scope and what is the overall timeline, right? And I think there's a path to try to get that very soon, but I think that's where the anxiety exists. Because God forbid, we have to do some level of value engineering or other things to try to get this project in budget, our degrees of freedom go down by the week. So I think you're hearing the anxiety from Anne Marie, which I feel as well, that we still don't have enough clarity to feel good about where.
Have you and Anne Marie been discussing?
Exactly, because I've done these projects before. I'm not unfamiliar with how these projects work. I have never been so deep in a project with nothing before me for money or time. And yes, I am very concerned that we are approving invoices against God knows what. I don't know what the total is. So we really need some documentation that goes out to the full committee, if it's week by week or bi-weekly, whatever it is. But for most of us, we're flying blind. And I have an obligation to the town, and I can't fulfill it if I don't have any information.
It's not just some of the committee, Anne Marie, that's flying blind. It's the whole committee is flying blind, essentially.
Not good.
I respect all of that. The one piece I will say is that when we get, that signed amendment, we're releasing people to work in the field. So that amendment on terms of us, it includes everything that a GMP would include. It includes the schedule, it includes a budget, it includes all the parts and pieces of a GMP in different exhibits. So when we get that signed, we're telling the people in the field to start work, which triggers like the rec review process and the timeframes and the things like that nature. So if there's anything you need from us, in addition to what we've been providing, and maybe it's time frame, maybe it's a set schedule, whatever, let us know. But the expectation from the folks doing the work is that their recs are gonna get approved because we're telling them to do
Have you
it.
guys got paid yet at all?
No.
They haven't got, so we started this at the beginning that we all look at it, Tom reviews it, we look at it, to your point, but to their point, they've been there for 4 or 5 weeks, they haven't got any money, so we need to just tighten it up a little bit more than that, right?
So and if there's something you need from us, that's gonna, I mean.
So let's put it this way. CHA this week will provide to me, which I can then provide to the committee, a schedule and the recommendation for approval of your current rec that's on the table.
Yep.
Does that work?
As well as based on the information that we have to date, we will provide the overall project budget,
Yes.
which has been sent to you, Mark and Tom. It's based on information that we have to date.
Yeah.
And we will send that out as well so that the entire committee has all of the available information that we have to this point. I want to stress that we don't have the updated estimate from Skanska, which we're expecting in mid-February. And that will very much help to set where the overall budget is.
Correct, because the current budget is ancient history.
Correct. And I just want the committee to understand that we can only provide the information that we have available to us, and we don't have the next round of estimate, which is based on a much higher level of certainty in design. So a lot of the assumptions that were made from months ago are going away, but they don't reflect that going away in the budget. There's still going to be a higher degree of uncertainty within the budget.
But the committee's only committed $5 million. So
I agree.
The only thing you're actually committed to paying us is $5 million. The rest of it's budget. So I
Yes.
understand what you're all saying.
They're different issues.
They're totally
Right.
different
They're
issues.
mechanically different issues, but I think
But
from
from
a
a-
sentiment perspective, they feel very intertwined.
I
Right, which is
still-
we're paying for things without a full view of
Right.
it, but it sounds like at this point, we're gonna be on track for a clearer view of the budget in mid-February, right? So we're hopefully a few weeks away from that.
Correct.
And then simultaneously, next week, we'll have an opportunity to see the 2.2 and the kind of the backup to support the 2.2, which we've already committed to.
Correct.
Correct.
To pay that.
But the other piece too is there's 3 packages on the street or close to being on the street, which buys out somewhere between $8 and $10 million of this project. And those are the ones, Anne Marie, really will get us to the point of understanding it. It doesn't make me feel comfortable that there's that much money out there, but that's gonna be reality, is unfortunately is.
When do we get the first responses on those 3 packages? Well, I don't know, talk about when we're gonna talk about the 3 packages, what the status is.
Yeah.
Bill
Maybe we can circle back on that budget clarity question.
Mark, Bill Shea, just part of this may be the type of procurement that's being used in this project is different than we've done in the past, Anne Marie, with the fixed, this is a rolling thing between the contractor, the committee and the engineer. And maybe if there was a little brief summary of that, it might help the committee as to the steps, because they're not the conventional steps where like the police station, we had a lump sum contract. That was it. You knew it. This is not the case for this one. This is a team rolling
Until
effort.
we get a GMP.
Right,
Right.
right. But
Which is end of February.
but to Anne Marie's point, we've spent 20% of the money, maybe more.
Exactly, right.
So it's the process that's driving that as much as anything on this, the method of procurement that we used is a part of this.
Well, and the fact that, to be candid, we're behind with some of our bids packages that should have been out weeks or months earlier, right? So we're feeling more exposed on the budget because of some of that $8 or $10 million. We don't yet know that that's gonna
Coming
come
in one time.
Exactly, which is not good, but that's where we are.
That's where we are.
And I just want to kind of close the loop on this, and I think we're all saying this, but I want to make sure that we can't, in our opinion, we should wait till the estimate to get this first rank approved. Like those should be 2.
Understood.
Right.
Mike, no, understood.
We're not waiting for the estimate and seeing how it looks and then.
Right.
Come on, we're.
Yeah, you did the work, we owe you the money.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're not, and not gonna wait.
And to be clear, we haven't spent 20% of the budget, we committed 20% of the budget.
Correct.
So we haven't spent anything, we haven't really spent a lot yet.
The big one on the table right now is the engineered metal building, which is $3 million. We're not gonna pay for that for another.
I think Anne Marie's point's well taken, we all kind of agree, just get us a budget and then,
Get us more information.
so we know what we're dealing with.
We'll get that information out to you
Okay.
in advance of the meeting next week. Well, in advance.
Do you want me to?
I mean, I've been reluctant to, what I've been posting is what we have as committed numbers that come in. And we measure that against the 9/11 estimate. So I've also got a running tally that has shown where there are some expectations for variances from the budget. And I'll update that, but I'm not going to commit or put committed numbers down until we have those in the form of a package that's come in and everybody's agreed to it.
Guys make a pre-GMP amendment.
right.
Okay.
You all set, Tom? Anne Marie, you all set for now?
Yes, thank you. Appreciate that. And thank you, Bill. I do appreciate that this is a different process from what we've experienced in the past. But I just feel like we can't be flying blind, and that's how I feel right now. So thank you, everybody, for the explanation. Let's see what we've got for next week.
All right, so on schedule then, CHA needs to get that to me by Friday, let's say Monday, early, close business, because that's when I'll send out the agenda to Monday sometime.
Yeah, we have the schedule that we just got from Skanska on Thursday.
Okay.
With the total project. We have a rolled up schedule that we can review this morning that takes us to a certain point. But the entire schedule, we can certainly send out to the committee, again, with the documents this week.
I think a rolled up, I think the committee would rather see a rolled up schedule than the full.
Okay.
30,
We just don't
40
have
pages.
1 hour and just, if you're looking at our schedule, we don't have things like, FF&E or move-in dates, like that stuff at the tail end
Correct,
isn't, we have
Correct. We-
CLO date and
Yeah,
finish date, but that
Right.
those, like, I don't know if that's the same
There's
thing.
not a lot of FF&E in this job.
correct,
That's a good thing.
right.
Okay.
So,
And I think we can announce today, if you don't mind, Mike, because you have to have it, the projected turnover date is
April.
April of
2025.
2025.
So that's, now let me just clarify, there's 2 finish dates in our schedule.
Correct.
There's one for April 2025. And then there's one when the switchgear gets swapped out. So we have a temporary switchgear in our project because of lead times we know we're not gonna get in time. So we have April as the date that we're, essentially live.
Able to make ice, able to perform, quote unquote, in the rink.
Yep.
Not with FF&E, but you would have a sheet of ice down and be able to skate on it.
We feel like we could give occupancy at that.
Right.
But then there would be another sub-phase, and right now we're anticipating September, where we would take out the temp switchgear, install permanent switchgear, and the PV scope has to be after
Right.
that, or at least the go live date. The go live date has to be after that permanent switchgear. Our temp infrastructure is going to support the
Right.
PV. So that's like a sub-phase, and that's September.
Right. But those, because we have a lot of public on, but the rink would be usable
Yep.
prior to September. The rink would be usable if we chose to continue to have ice from April through.
But does that schedule, does that schedule include the commissioning of the rink, or that's when you turn it over to the town? And then the town commissioning, because we talked about it before, is we're gonna wanna make ice. If it's April, whatever it is, we're gonna make ice, make sure all the systems work, so that when we kick it on in September of 2025, to make ice for that season, we know everything works.
That April date is inclusive of making ice. So that April date has like a whole startup making ice. Okay, I love that.
So sometime in March, you start making ice.
Yeah, yep.
Okay,
And then it's, we can make the decision if we want to melt the ice and make it again in September, or we want to leave the ice through that first.
no,
Yeah, so
I
that's,
don't think so.
Just
Dante.
Dante, I thought it might be something to look at, that we don't turn this plant on until early September. Therefore, thinking that our warranty on the ice making doesn't really start until we turn it on, doesn't make a lot of sense to me to turn this thing on in April, melt it within a couple of weeks, and then turn it back on. It seems like a lot of wasted energy and time and effort. So I would look at, and I know we don't have to make that decision now, but whenever they think about it,
Yep.
I think it'd be a wise decision to turn this on in early September. We don't really need it for September, really, but this would be an advantage for
Hockey
using.
uses in September.
Yeah, what I'm saying, but early September, starting it up rather than starting in April, melt it all down, clean it all up, and then we can defer, right? We can defer our warranty from that point on the ice making so we don't even start it up. We have issues in September, we do it. I know we'd like to get the bugs out of this,
yeah.
but relatively, it's not gonna fail on us in September. So to do it in April, then have April, May, June, July, and August, 5 months, we're wasting 5 months of a warranty. So I don't think we need to get.
Does commissioning count against your warranty?
So we will be in the coming week/month, bringing you a proposal for a commissioning agent, to bring a commissioning agent on, because typically commissioning agent is working through the process as the construction of the building and the infrastructure is being put in place. They're checking things and making sure things are installed properly and are going to function. And then as the items are able to be powered up, fired up, they're running through the processes that are involved. It can be a very lengthy process, and in fact, we're still commissioning at the high school, Tom. It's an ongoing process. So I hear what you're saying, Buzz, but I'm very reluctant to say we're not going to fire anything up until September. Because I'll just say it, God forbid, there is something catastrophic that was not picked up. We're then not picking that up until September.
Well-
That, in my opinion, is very late.
Well,
That's
right
what
now,
I'm saying, but
yeah,
just
right now you say-
I don't think commissioning is part of your warranty.
yeah, okay.
I think you have to turn it over to us.
I just say now, we started, it was gonna be November, we went to February, now we're in April. I would suggest, yeah, that it potentially, this could go to May. And if it goes to late May, you really wanna pay that building up in late May? I mean, it's something we should look at.
Definitely.
I just think we should look at it. I don't think we, any sense of fire that up in April, middle of April.
But he's talking about firing up in March, because
Right.
he's turning it over
Turning
in
it over.
April, he's
Right.
already got a
Right.
commission.
And then,
Right.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
I'm sorry. Also, and this is a much larger discussion, but if we're running on temporary switchgear, okay, then we're still running on a temporary condition. We have to have a discussion whether, even if it was turned over, the warranty would apply, or does the warranty start if all of the systems are in place permanently? That's a discussion for later on. Let's see where we're at.
I don't think so.
No.
But it's a discussion.
Yeah, right, no, but here,
We're gonna buy that type of to me, I was gonna say, I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah.
rushing in. What we can ask now as we're de-scoping this week, or next, Monday, Tuesday? Tuesday. We can ask, what's the premium to give us a extended warranty starting April?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it worth? Right? I don't know what the value is, but maybe we just say, that's what you're gonna do. You're gonna
Okay.
extend the warranty to get the coverage
Yeah.
from that extra 5-month gap.
We should just look at it.
Yeah.
guys,
I don't wanna waste a lot of time.
Bill Shea, we are way, way, way ahead of ourselves here, all right? We're talking about switchgear a year and a half from now. A lot's gonna happen,
Yeah.
okay? You cannot put money on that delivery date today at all. So this discussion is very premature. Let's get the money and the schedule worked out.
Gather notes.
Hi, thanks very much. Without wanting to rehash too much, I would just like to thank Anne Marie for bringing up this point. I agree. I am satisfied with the response that I've heard in the meeting today about what the committee will be presented next week. I just also want to put on record that, I think having a high level schedule of milestones and sort of the budget associated is very important. And as we on the committee are somewhat of ambassadors to the citizens of the town on how the project is going, and we haven't had the level of visibility to these big milestones, and the conversations have seemed focused on some detail, which is important. I think we need to see this high level schedule, understanding that of course certain milestones will depend on achievement of other ones and things may change. That's fine, but we need to see the plan with the budget. And so I just want to thank Anne Marie, and again, I'm satisfied with the answer that was given about what we will do for the next coming weeks.
Okay, thank you, Kathy. Okay, what do you want to do, procurement?
I was just gonna give a quick overview of our procurement.
Go ahead, go for it.
So refrigeration was Friday, the bids were due. Bids didn't come in Friday, we got the first bid Monday. 2 other bids we're hoping to get this week. We've been in contact with the other 2 bidders. We expect to get bids from both. But, we called them, we emailed them, we called them, we emailed them, and then they said they got busy and they took a couple of jobs. So they're gonna give us bids. We're gonna get bids from all 3. And we're also waiting on, last night he said it's really close, so I'm expecting that.
Yeah, we were supposed to be yesterday.
Yeah. So I think
this week.
it's all coming. So Jake has set up the first round of de-scopes for next Tuesday in anticipation that we're getting bids we expect. And we're just in the process of evaluating those. So that's,
Are either one of those two people you've worked with before, Mike?
yeah, so
Okay.
the one we got is the one that we worked with.
Great,
most
thank you.
recently
Yep.
in Deerfield.
Yep.
So the other two, one is out of New York.
Okay.
And the other one is pretty much the other big player in this market. And like I said, recent conversations originally, they said, sorry, we're not gonna be able to do this, and now we're talking like, you know, so. That's where we're at with those bids. The concrete, Christian, do you know, in terms of the concrete?
Yes, we got an updated bulletin two from LaMeasure on Friday.
Okay,
Yep, I just got it yesterday looking at it.
okay, so once that gets.
Yeah, you got it yesterday, you didn't get it Friday.
Well, they did send it Friday. I didn't see it in the inbox. Somehow I missed it. So I reached out to Bill yesterday. He goes, no, we sent that out. I go, okay. So I looked back and I found it.
So once you've kind of digested that, that's gonna come to us,
Yes.
and then we'll flip it to the concrete folks. So the timeframe on that is we're hoping to have that RTA for you guys on the 7th. So depending on when we get that is gonna be, you know,
Is that in sync with the building right now? With the metal building, or is there another round of coordination?
so honestly, both of these are, when these, we're sending both
Okay.
the metal building.
I'm
And,
gonna go like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I think a lot of it's gonna answer
Okay.
both questions.
Yeah, thank you.
A lot of, I don't want to speak for, I anticipate all the things we've been working through with these metal building meetings is kind of being summarized and memorialized in this addendum.
Right.
Based on conversations we've had, so.
And the concrete's been coordinated with that. Yes,
Yes.
thank you.
So we're targeting the 7th, but it's gonna be tight depending on how big this is and when we actually get it to send to the bidders. So I'm thinking we're gonna give them at least a week to look at these, because it's 2 rounds. They're gonna catch up on the 1.5 set and this set. So once we get a chance to see it, we'll know better, but it's gonna be closer to 7, just based on getting it sometime later this week.
Okay, so let's go.
Is that critical path?
No, it's not critical path. Right now, critical path is still the metal building, and right now we do have some time between rebar delivery, which is the driving factor in that award, to starting. So,
I'd give them another week, sharpen that pencil.
yeah.
Yeah.
But that, right now, we're gonna say 1 week, but based on the size, we can give them a week, we say give them a week, and then they're like.
Right, if you give them 2, they're gonna take 3. If you
Right.
give them 1, they'll take
Yeah.
2.
But site work is still critical.
Site work is critical path.
So can we talk about site work?
Yep, so we started, our scope is, you know, we're comfortable with our scope, and to be honest, our scope sheet is being sent to our estimators to incorporate based on, make sure everything jives in terms of how we're dividing the package. There's a couple pieces of information we're making assumptions on, and it's not really for this meeting, but I think we have enough to bid it. We're just, the big driver is, I think Friday, we're getting the full site work package. And that's when we'll be able to see the specs. So we haven't seen the specs. I don't anticipate any surprises in the specs, and can, you know, we work our spec around some of the drawings.
So if you receive the drawings on the 26th, you go, some of it's on the street already. On the street. No, on the street, a week from Friday?
We have in our schedule right now is based on 2 weeks. Us seeing the whole package, finishing it and getting it on the street in 2 weeks. That's what's in the schedule.
Didn't we talk, what did we agree to last week? When were we expecting?
Tomorrow. Friday.
I'm sorry.
Okay, so the package was supposed to go on Friday.
Yep.
This Friday.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Yeah, we're still on the schedule we talked about last week,
Okay.
where it's Friday, and then our current schedule has 2 weeks for us to take the package, develop it, and get it out to the bidders for review. And all that is in, the schedule we set out Friday based on those dates, has all that logic in it. So as long as we kind of maintain those dates, we're gonna hit our schedule. If we can improve it, we're gonna improve it, but, you know.
So if you bid it on 9 February, when do you award? So 3 to 4 weeks, right?
I can't remember. I think the RTA comes in around the 15th. think it was the Wednesday after the 7th. But let me,
7th,
the 7th is a Wednesday, 14th.
Valentine's Day.
I think is when we're anticipating. No, I'm sorry. It was March. It was March. These guys 3 weeks. It was March. Let me pull up the schedule and I'll tell you exactly what it is. But I guess the summary here is that we're on pace. Assuming we had a Friday, we're on pace with the schedule that we submitted last week. So we're maintaining that, if not improving. Right. So next week's gonna be a busy week. We're gonna have concrete. We're gonna have, to Mark's point, a lot of our bigger packages moving next week. Concrete, hockey rink, refrigeration equipment, and site work are gonna be in the mix.
So will you have preliminary numbers back for all three of those packages when we review the budget?
We're having our estimated site work. We'll have the bids in by the time the 16th of February comes.
We won't have bids.
We will not have the bids, but we think it's important to do the estimate regardless, because what we estimated back in September didn't have a lot of the site work pieces. So that RTA, the comparison back to the budget, would almost be, it's different scopes than what we were looking at. We didn't have the stormwater system. We didn't have the geotech report. So a lot of that stuff needs to be looked at for comparison back to a budget.
So we won't have all, to answer your question a different way, Tom, we will have some hard numbers. We won't have all hard numbers, but we will have updated estimates based on current drawings, which is critical that we have that information to be able to provide a much more meaningful line item budget for the project.
Yep. No, I get that, but those are still estimates.
Yes.
You know, so to
Yes.
the degree we're a week away from hard numbers, but we'll just layer those in.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, so let's,
Yes.
we'll get the estimates and then we'll
Yes.
layer them in as quickly
Right.
as.
The estimate is gonna include two sections. It's gonna include awarded and subcontracted values. So like the demo, the site, the demo, the PEMB.
Yeah.
Hopefully the concrete and the refrigeration will have hard numbers in. They are not estimating those scopes because we're gonna have hard numbers by the time the estimate's done. And then there's gonna be a second line for estimated scopes, and that's what our estimate.
Right, including second.
And because of the nature, again, I'm saying, I know you know this, I'm saying this, Tom Gazun is saying it more for the public. Because of the nature of a CM at risk project, we have to do it this way. Otherwise, we're truly waiting until the end of the project to have hard numbers for each of the scope. As Bill said, it's different than a design bid build where you create all of the drawings, you put it out, you get one number, and then you have contingency.
Mike, if your estimators give a projected number and you put a bid out, and there's 3 bidders and they're all much higher than you expected, do you re-put that bid back out and tell them to look at it, the numbers too high?
I think that's,
Then can we negotiate that? In other words, are you in a place that because we're doing it this way to our benefit, and that's what I thought we did it for, are we in a place that we can say, look, we projected $10,000, you came in 15, you need to look at this because so either you missed something or you did something, but so we don't run this thing over budget.
so like a D-scope.
That's like
Yeah,
scope,
so-
right?
So the way we set up.
Mike, though, just that's the sections you're buying out independently. We can't do that with the file subbids.
Yes, that's correct.
Yep.
So there's 2 ways we do it. We take, to your point, when we estimate, we'll take the big picture items, like the big cost drivers, and we'll make sure that those are clearly broken out in our estimate. And then when we do our bid forms, we'll have them give values for those specific items. So we have some sort of gut check of, okay, stormwater retention system. We're gonna estimate that, and I'm gonna want a separate number in their estimate. We're talking like everything related to stormwater, give us a value. So then we're gonna ask for the same scope as a breakout number within the bid for the site work person. So we can have that conversation at the D scope.
Okay.
Why are you, we're seeing it at this and you're seeing it at this, why?
Okay, that's perfect.
And then the other thing we do with each one of these bids is the D scope process allows us to say, okay, where is the cost drivers? How can we, get more flexibility in the budget? What are some decisions we can make that's gonna help get this number back to where it needs to be, and then those will be presented. So it's a decision. It's not just a Skanska decision. It's not just it's a whole group decision, because you gotta weigh out, the value for, if there are those VE options. Is that important to you, that we want to keep that and not take the VE? And then if we want to rebid, there's a schedule portion as well. So
Mike, are we talking about, when you say VE portion of the list? I had made some general suggestions about removing CMU and removing concrete and getting the PEMB, which would be, PEMB number would go up at concrete and CMU would go down significantly. It's a lot of labor and such. Are we going to track those potential cost savings items as part of this budget? Because I think we need strategies to bring this onto budget.
yes, so I think part of what we want to do when we go to let's say we get the concrete addendum this week, when we send that out to the bidders, we're also going to send out, with your help, Ted, that alternate as a price. So like they'll price what happens if you take the walls down from 3 feet above the sidewalk elevations to, I don't know what an appropriate curb height is, 6 inches.
Sure.
To say, let's just, whatever that is. So now the metal building is going to carry that, but the concrete and the masonry number is going to go down. So if the concrete number, if that reflects making it up, if that reflects a $80,000 savings to the concrete number, and then we can estimate the savings on the masonry when we do our estimate, and the metal building scope goes up by a very small margin because we already own the steel, it's just the metal panels, then we can have that decision as part of this process.
Yeah, just to be perfectly clear, we're not going to issue 2 sets of drawings. We're going to issue, the concrete package will be as it's currently designed. And then we can, in your bid sheets, we can have a little description of what it might take, and or a hand sketch, but I'm not going to have the engineers redesign everything. There's a second set of drawings.
Totally agree. I think all we're looking for is, if we can work together on it, it's just a blue beam markup on the elevations with some sort of narrative that says, okay, here's the exterior elevations.
What if we take it down to the
Yes,
floor?
I don't want to do it in a vacuum because I don't want to make the wrong assumption. I don't think we're gonna.
Yeah. No, that's
No,
right.
no, no,
I'm happy to work with it. Absolutely.
So all the steel's going to the slab elevation, but the skin elevation may vary.
Correct.
Thank you.
You might have like another horizontal member, but it's going to be not
Small
much.
potatoes, right, yeah.
Metal building package.
So just so I appreciate the fact that we're talking about this. So we're going to coordinate the add alternates and the deduct alternates so that we'll be able to see as the bids come in, not only what that price is, but have a pretty immediate sense for if there were VE opportunities, what would they net out to?
Yep.
And that'll be part of the bid process, not an after the fact post award.
That's part of the bid process, but I think what I'm saying is sometimes there are the bidders, people that do this every day might have something in their head.
They have some ideas.
So that's not gonna be a pre-coordinated thing, that's gonna be something that we talk about after the
that
fact.
makes sense.
That says like, hey, if we made this change from this product to this product, or if we did this minor change, you could save X.
Yeah.
But that's gonna come out of the D-scope.
The D-scope exercise.
Yes.
But I appreciate Ted's, or collectively, Preble's proactive work to identify those things now, so that we can then immediately talk about options.
Absolutely.
As opposed to having a whole nother cycle of, wait a minute, what are we gonna do?
Right.
How can you save us?
Totally agree, totally agree.
Perfect.
So I'm going back to site work.
Mhm.
We talked about site work last week. We need a plumber and electrician, which are both filed sub-bids.
Mhm.
What's the status of getting them on board so we in fact can do and put in conduit and drainage under the building or conduit outside the building? How does that system work? And I don't understand why CHA is that involved in hiring filed bidders. Maybe Dawn can.
Because it's a pre-qualification process.
But that's supposed to have been done, right? Dawn, the pre-qualification is done. So doesn't that all now go to Skanska to bid it to the sub-file bidders?
What we did in the high school is we developed the invitation to bid, we developed the bid form and any supplemental instructions to the bidders, and then we worked with Skanska to supplement that to get the full bid package.
That's right.
Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just give it to Skanska?
Because it's all gotta go through public project.
Yeah, if it's a public project, it's a public job. So it's gotta be come through our side at some point. Because we're awarding a bid through a public process.
He's awarded.
No, he's not.
Yes, he is.
I don't believe so. I think we play a part in that.
They're awarded. We are not award, this committee is not awarding a
If you're
bid.
both saying the same thing, I think we will eventually hold the contract. We will
Yes.
make the award,
Yes,
but like the bids, as in my experience, all flow through the town. We get the bid, like they'll be sent to the town.
See, this is where the difference is.
they're publicly advertised.
If it was design bid build, I agree with you, Bill.
Okay,
If in CM, it should all go to them and they take care of it.
We've never done it that
I'm
way.
not sure.
That's how we did Wellington. That's how Skanska did Wellington.
We have.
Whatever the system is,
Yeah.
we've got to get those bids in.
Yes.
Does everybody understand that piece?
Yeah.
We
Absolutely.
can't put a piece of pipe in the ground outside this building.
But we have all those people on board.
Absolutely.
So that, the logic for the under slab is built into the schedule. The logic for the exterior conduit that we talked about last week is not, and that's in the works in terms of getting, how do we get that fed in time for March? So.
That's where I'm going.
Yep, so.
You could always have two bids too.
Well,
There's nothing that says you can't bid those items separately.
That's what I want to, I asked
Right.
it last week and I'll ask it again. Is there any reason why the site work contractor cannot carry an electrical contractor that can put the conduit in?
I don't think you can.
It has to be a file subbid, but can we have a list of approved file subbidders.
Right, right.
Can he go to one of them and get that price so we can put conduit in the ground?
Why can't we as a committee have two filed sub bids for the electrical?
You
We'll
need
have a,
two separate drawing sets. You need two separate drawing sets.
Okay. no, you couldn't list it out?
No.
I don't think so. I think you need two separate drawing sets and two separate specs, two separate, like you'd have to parse out the drawings for one specific package.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
my
Okay,
understanding.
so let's.
Thank
you. So Don, when does the electrical file sub bid that you're putting together go on the street?
We need the full set of documentation, and I know we're talking about MEP by the end of this week, but we need full specifications. And that electrical package, as we've discussed, is gonna include all the security, AV, and so forth.
We're targeting the second on getting that package from T.
2nd of February, is that correct?
Yes.
That includes the PV, I understand.
Yeah.
I thought we have to confirm that date, because I think we talked with, gave our security guy of getting the drawings together end of this week, and then the full, and CES was coming in the end of this week. And then I think we talked about coordinating it for next week, so I think that's right.
Okay.
I think the 2nd is right.
So with that said, we get it on the 2nd. You got 2 weeks from Skanska, then we got 4 weeks of bid. We're in mid-March. But we need to see how that fits into the schedule that we're talking about, you guys providing next week. But with that said, we need to now talk about how we get temporary power to Harrison Field with AV, temporary AV, CAT, whatever it's called, to there.
We have half, I would call it a half-baked plan. I'm not prepared, I mean, I can talk about it now if you want.
No,
That's okay.
that's
So,
okay.
well, all I know is
You got at least you're starting to put together a plan.
we put together a plan, we have an idea of how we could do it. I actually think, to your point last week, it's probably the best way to do it, because if we were to do this right, if, in a perfect world, you would do that with all the utilities in that quarter. You wouldn't just do that one duct bank and then come back and rip it all open again and do the drainage and rip it all open again and tie in, like you do it all at once with the site guy.
Correct.
So I think what we're working on is a way to allow that to happen, but still feed it from.
I think that's why Mark's pushing,
Yes.
correct me if I'm wrong, Mark's pushing this because we can't get that connected unless these sub bids are in and we have an electrician and a plumber on board to do this work and a site guy. And the whole thing has to jive because we're kind of committed to the date that we talked about.
And the question for Skanska is, do you need something from the committee or the town to understand how to connect up this, and I call it the silver box?
I guess where I'm at with it is hopefully by this week, I have a plan that I sent to, well, I was actually hoping to talk through CHA with Belmont Light, because it's gonna involve those guys. To make sure that the plan I have actually makes sense to some of the other people that are gonna need to be engaged, and then present that plan.
And we need to get Manly Electric involved, because they are the ones who maintain the silver box.
Okay.
They are the Musco representative local. So to power it, and the question I sent to Christian yesterday, you asked, what do we need? And then what CES is, does it need a transformer between the power that's coming off the street and the silver box?
Just the thought, what we have on paper right now that we're working through is essentially setting the temp transformer somewhere by our trail for now. Running it north to the silver box.
Okay, so you'd have a temporary transformer.
And then when we're ready, when all the other infrastructure is done, with the normal site work, is take the transformer, move to the final location and switch it. That's what we do. We do it all on our side. We set it, it's running. It allows us to do the site work in sequence and with everything else, with the main electrician and with the main site work package.
It's fine.
That just, I just don't
We would
know
have to have that,
limitations
right, we would
of-
have to have that conversation with Belmont Light, because it may have to be a different transformer.
Yeah,
We don't know.
I don't know, but that was our, we looked at it
I
after
assume
last
the
week.
silver box is a switch gear.
Yeah.
Then we have to weigh it, if we better off George going with a temporary, if this was gonna be done, it would be done at the beginning of May. We only need it for like a month and a half, then we weigh, can we use a generator temporary? Is that more cost effective than doing all this other work with the wires and taking them out and putting them in? I mean, it seems like that's a pretty associated cost with this. So for something that's a month long, maybe we're better off to look at, I know that was your third choice. It might be my first choice, because I think if we get the numbers to do all this work,
Right.
you're gonna say, hey, which one do you wanna spend? We wanna be the lesser two.
I think it's very clear that we have to do some type of temporary solution for the Whitefield house. We're going down a temporary solution for it. Not the Whitefield, Harrisfield. Harrisfield.
We don't need the white field.
Right,
Well, it's
we
also-
need to do a temporary solution for Harrisfield. What that solution is, there are a couple of options, and we've got to weigh those options to see what makes the most
We're all
sense.
talking about silver box too, but this also includes a softball field. That rework from the, behind the mobile
Yeah.
station down by the MBTA tracks to refit that green box.
That's more like May, June.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Right,
but that's all part of that.
That's all.
so, right, my understanding is the critical item is the silver box.
Mhm.
The softball field may work with the regular schedule. We need
I got
to,
it.
we need to look at it in
I guess
multiple phases.
So let's put a bow on this. We talked about it last week. You have to look at it. We looked at it. We have a preliminary plan. We need some validation of that plan. And we've already talked to the enabling electrician to kind of work up a number, so we know what type of value we're looking at. I haven't heard anything back. We have to actually kind of, I don't think she really understood the concept, so we got to talk to her again and make sure she really grasped, but we're hoping to have some validation on the first time. Okay,
Good.
so we're moving on it.
Okay, I just want to make sure. With that, I think since we're now on this, it's, does anybody have any comments? And I see someone from the community has a question. Lisa Pagoli?
Hi, thank you, Lisa Pagoli, Precinct 4. First, I would love to say thank you so much, Marie, for saying everything that is true, being the only real man in the room to speak up against what is so obvious to all of us. And the second thing is that this is a nightmare, as I've said before, and it's like the high school building committee on steroids. And everything that I have said in the beginning, my concerns, I was completely right and I was dismissed. And here we are. I know that you're not going to pay attention to that and this is just going to go on. So welcome to my nightmare, Anne Marie. Hold on, because it's only going to get worse because it's already started. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll take it under advisement, Lisa. Go ahead.
March 7th is the OTA date for the site work, anticipated. March 7th.
Okay. With that,
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Bill Shea,
Yeah,
second.
Bill, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We'll see you all next week. We will meet again next week with the committee.